Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Deborah Pettit, and today I have an interview with Lorraine Dirksen Jansen, who wrote this adorable book, Gracie's Playful Dusty Day. I love it, and we've got some questions for her. So join us. Why did you want to write a book?
It probably all started when I was a little girl. I was an avid reader and writer, and I spent a lot of time. Actually, it sounds a little maybe cliche, but I spent a lot of time up in the hayloft of our barn. I think I thought I was little like Laura from Little House on the Prairie, and I would go lay among the hay, which was actually up there, and I would read and I would write. And so I kind of knew from young that I wanted to write a book. And I do think that there was a big influence there with Laura Ingalls and her writings. And I wanted to get my words on paper. I wanted other people to hear my words, read my words, and hopefully enjoy what I had to say, just to share with the rest of the world. Hopefully make them laugh.
I love that. That's beautiful. So, what do you hope readers will gain from your books? You said hopefully make them laugh. Can you delve into that a little bit more?
I love to laugh. I love making people laugh, and I love laughing. So I'm hoping that that's what readers will experience when they read my book. That and also imagination. I think imagination is a lost art these days. There's so much technology around us. Children are immersed in technology, as are adults. And I think that hopefully that opens doors for them to explore that a little bit further and see where it will take them. Your imagination can take you many places.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say would be your favorite book that helps your imagination to flourish?
Favorite children's book?
Sure.
Okay. I would probably say from young, I mean, I'm kind of dating myself, but I read to my children a lot the Berenstain Bears books
Oh,
and Arthur. I know like those are, they're pretty common, but, and I think that because they were animation and it took you into a world of bears, animals talking, that probably fueled a lot of my imagination. But also, even like Margaret Wise Brown, a lot of her books.
can you name one of them?
Robert, yeah, Goodnight Moon.
Yes. Okay.
Robert Munch was another one. Just the activity that goes on in the books. And that's a lot of it too. Is just it keeps moving, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do like the playful. I think nature. A lot of nature comes into play too. Like Little Bear was very common. Um, yeah, just anything that can like leave room for your imagination. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, can you tell a little bit more about your book, your the book that you have right there?
Yeah. So this is Gracie's Playful Dusty Day. I wrote this, it came out in the spring of 2022. And it is based on our beagle that we used to have. She passed away in 21. And she liked to bark at inanimate objects. So if she's looking out the window and she sees a bag being blown across the street, or in the house, a feather or a balloon floating around, she would bark at that. And like almost in my mind, I would laugh. And then I'd think, she must think that it's real, like it's something threatening to her. So I took it further and I thought, well, I'm going to create a story about Gracie seeing something under the bed. We all have dust bunnies in our house, so let's go with dust bunnies. And taking the little girl of the home on a big adventure, like something is going on here. And so she just drags her through the house to try to lead her to, what is going on under the bed. Takes a little while for the little girl to figure it out, but yeah, and so then it just turns into this imaginary world of the dust bunnies living and working and playing and um, yeah, just kind of living a life under the bed.
I love it. Can
Yeah,
you show them maybe one, like your favorite page?
sure. I like my busy pages. So um, where all the stuff is under the bed, I've created a playground under the bed. So this is a sample of the playground.
I
So we
love it.
have, this is like a magnet that is a slide. Then we have like a swing over here. And
So cute.
yeah, monkey bars right here. Yeah, all made from just a bunch of junk that got thrown under the bed. And yeah, I just kind of let my mind go with it and just think, what's under the bed and what can I use under the bed to create a playground? You know?
So why did you choose to make the dust bunnies come to life then?
Well, partly because Gracie did seem to have this reaction to things that weren't alive. And so I thought, let's go with that. And let's make the dust bunnies come to life. Also to get a further response from her, but to see what the little girl would do with it. All of a sudden, so it brought her into this imaginary world. She sees the dust under the bed. She thinks they're alive. That's what she's thinking. And then she just goes, hey, maybe they are. And she decides to help out and she lets her imagination go. And so she does earlier. Actually, I think, no, I have it later. She goes and gets more stuff and she throws it under the bed, say, hey, they need more. She's being a little mischievous too. She knows later on there's a reminder in there about the broom being behind the door. She knows she's going to have to clean it all up, but she's just letting her imagination go.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you. So, what was the most unexpected challenge you encountered while writing this book, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge I had was with scansion, and that is um, when you're writing a book that is rhyming, your stanzas have to have a certain number of syllables between the rhyming lines. So usually they suggest that it's not more than 1 to 2 syllables, preferably one, keeping it quite close. And so I actually didn't learn about that until I went into edit. I didn't have a clue about scansion. And so that took a little bit for me to get that to, I had to tweak it and I had to find the right words. I had to pull things out. I had to put things in. And I found that part was challenging. And then always counting my syllables.
Yeah.
So it just took a little more time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think I could just, as an example, so like the first line, I was in the middle of reading a wonderful book, okay, when Gracie ran past me and gave me a look.
And how did you choose the title? And what significance does it hold for you?
So I actually wanted a different title. I wanted it to be Gracie Leads the Way to a Playful Dusty Day. My editor said that is way too long. And I thought, there's a lot of long titled books, but you know, okay, I have to listen to my editor. So it was actually her suggestion. And yeah, so it wasn't really my original one. So she suggested it. We bounced around a few other ideas and I thought, okay, this one fits the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I wanted the other was because I wanted the reader to know that Gracie was kind of in charge of this game. And the little girl wouldn't have had as much fun if Gracie hadn't led her there. So that was kind of why I had originally thought of that title. But, and I thought it told a little bit more, but yeah, but this is what it is. So yeah.
Yes, I like it. Can you describe a memorable interaction that you've had with a reader?
Yeah, I was asked to present in 2 grade 3 classes in a local school, and they asked me to do a presentation on writing, what it took to put a book together. And and then I read my book. And so the cool thing was, of course, they put it on the big screen so that's really the kids can see it easier. And the kids were just so excited. I mean, it's a classroom of 25 to 30 children. And when I'm reading it, and then once they found out there were like these dust bunnies under the bed, they actually were spent jumping at the screen, kind of pointing out the dust bunnies or running up and look at what this one's doing or look what that one's doing, or, just really excited. And when you see a whole group of children like that reacting to your story and the joy that it's bringing them, that was the most rewarding feeling for me. That, yes, it was a classroom, and yes, I was asked to be there, and I was doing something special in that day for them, but they were still listening and being a part of that story. They were engaged, and that was what was important.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So
Yeah. I love when kids get excited about books. They become better people for reading and having their imaginations grow.
absolutely, I think it's really important, and I think it, like I said, it's a lost art. And I think that when they start to recognize that, hey, this is my imagination and look at what it's doing for them, I think it's really exciting and rewarding for them, for
Yeah.
sure.
Are there any characters in the book that you hope readers can relate to on a personal level?
Those that are pet owners, you know, not everyone is, but those that are, um, we know what a pet can bring you, the fun you can have with them, just how much joy that they bring into your life. So I think maybe just some can relate to the little girl and her fun with that dog, and others won't, but maybe it will intrigue them or inspire them to, hey, let's explore that. Maybe I want to have some fun with a little pet, or talk to mom and dad.
So, how do you balance writing with other aspects of life, like work and family?
Well, I'm in a place of life where I am an empty nester, so you'd think I have more time in my day. I'm not working out of the home anymore. I work in my home, but it's still challenging because I am and I like to be active. I'm involved in my community. I volunteer. I'm active in my church. Just I have senior parents nearby, so I do tend to. I want a piece of everything, and so it's really challenging because I love writing, but I do love all these other things. And so it's tricky for me to find that balance sometimes, but I have to literally say today, I have to allot that time. I say even if it's an hour, like that I sit down and I work on my writing. I can't do it in 5-minute blips. It just, I need a flow, I need momentum, and I can't get that in short little stints. So it is challenging, and that's mostly because I have so many. I do have a vast array of interests, and so that makes it really hard. But yeah, it takes effort to say that this time right now is for writing, and that's not because I don't want to or I don't love it. It's because I just have a lot of other things in the back of my mind that, hey, I could be doing that and I could be doing that, but I want to work on my craft and I want to tighten it up and I want to make it better. So um, I it's a challenge. I think most writers probably do feel that,
Yes.
yeah, especially
Yeah.
those with younger children. And I don't have that.
So, what was the most rewarding moment that you experienced during the writing process?
I think that would be upon completion of my rough manuscript, reading it to my family, my husband and my two kids, um, and them looking at me and saying, "Mom, this is awesome," and watching them just chuckle as I was reading it, and then you should look at getting this published, and that really hit me, and I felt like just having them in my corner and supporting me with that, and seeing that there was something there that meant a lot to me. I had never had anyone really say to me, you should publish something, or because I have a lot of writings from my past and I've had a lot of people read them, but nobody has ever really said it like that. So that meant a lot to me. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
How do you approach writing dialogue? And do you have any tips?
Well, I didn't have any dialogue in this book, but I will speak on that with the novel that I'm working on. Um, I think that dialogue is a tricky one. I think there's a slippery slope there. You can steamroll a book full, like you can cover the storyline with dialogue like crazy, and you lose the character development, you lose sometimes the plot, you lose the landscape. Um, but the other thing is too, you can get too descriptive and you need a little dialogue because you can get really lost in descriptive detail and that's all you're getting. So I think it's a fine line. I try really hard to just find that balance, a little bit of dialogue um, interspersed with the narrative.
Yeah.
And it is tricky, yeah. But you
Yeah.
can't, lots of it. I've read books where there's been way too much dialogue, and I actually get bored. Same with description. Too much description, I get bored. You have to have a real balance.
It's true.
Yeah.
When I'm reading, I can't follow too many characters,
Right.
and especially if they're all talking. I would just get so confused. Wait, who's talking? So yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that for sure.
Yeah.
If you could offer one piece of advice to aspiring writers, what would it be?
I would say if you want to write a book someday, go for it. Like just make that your goal. I mean, I thought about it, a while back, but I think there were so many other things that kept getting in the way of like having the confidence behind doing it. So if you excuse me, have that desire, then go for it. Just do it. Yeah, and don't waste time with it. Yeah, just I kind of wish I had started younger, like with the publishing part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of us believing in ourselves. So I would just say, just believe in yourself.
Yeah,
do it.
go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
I like that. So how did you approach revisions and editing with the book?
I had a wonderful publishing specialist that I worked with and editor, and we just had a really great working relationship. And I will say this, you have to have a little bit of thick skin when it comes to dealing with an editor. I had moments where I was told that didn't work and I needed to change it. And, I kind of almost got my back up like, what? We can take it very personally because these are our words, right? And so someone is coming along and telling you almost like they're putting their thoughts into your head, and I don't want your idea. I want it to be my idea. So I learned to toughen up with that. But at the same time, despite that, we did have a good relationship. So there were times where I just really stuck to what I wanted. I would hear her, but I would just really say, I really like this word choice, and or I like this idea. Um, I think the key is to recognize that they are there for you and they want the best. Grammatically, anything she suggested, I was like, yeah, go for it, because I do not feel strong with my grammar at all. I have tons of ideas floating around in my head, but the grammar is not my expertise. So, but I think it's just build up a good relationship and just know that they have your back. Yeah. And find your thick skin. Yeah. I had to do that.
You mentioned a few books that you were inspired by as a kid and then reading to your children. Are there any others? And maybe what do readers, what are they reminded of when they read your book?
Well, I have been told that a lot of people have equated my book to that of Dr. Seuss, and Robert Munch a little bit. The Robert Munch piece is the playful, active component, but the Dr. Seuss, it's the rhyming and some of the quirky things that are going on in the story, and I love that. I'm a fan of both of them, and I yeah, that makes me happy. So I'm good with it.
Have you ever struggled with either writer's block or imposter syndrome?
Yes, yes, lots. The imposter syndrome has been, yeah, that that's been a big struggle. I would always tell myself earlier on in my writing, and even after I wrote my book, I'm not. I don't have a degree in English. I don't have a degree in literature. I'm not a reporter. I who am I to think that I can write a book? So I have really done a lot of second guessing. Um, that takes a fair bit to overcome. I actually can still do that to this day. Still think, what makes me think that I can write a book? Um, and some of that comes from, you do hear occasionally, like, not everyone can just sit down and write a book. Just because you have words doesn't mean you can write a book. So it's taken a lot for me to really get over that. My family has been extremely supportive in that.
That's great.
Yeah, but I have to really work on it myself too. Just getting outside of my head, and yeah, just not giving it the attention.
That's great.
Yeah.
Um, I follow an author, and she said she was working on her 30th book,
Wow.
and she had to struggle through really imposter syndrome. Am I done? Am maybe I can't write another book? And it took her 3 years to write this book, and she got it done. But I think all of us struggle with it. Um, it can definitely be there from day one all the way through till retirement, and we just have to overcome it for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big struggle.
Hmm.
And but
You
the
know,
writer's block, yes, I have
yeah.
had that as well. What I do for that is, if I'm just sitting there at my computer, especially with my novel, if I'm sitting at my computer and I'm just stuck, I just get up, I will carry on and go do something else, but I don't leave it. It doesn't leave my mind. I'm doing other things, but I'm trying to always figure out a way to get through that block while I keep doing other things. I
That's
just
great.
have to, I just keep myself busy.
Um, so what projects are you currently working on? And can you offer any hints or teasers for your upcoming work?
Yes, I have one in publication right now, and it is I don't really want to call it a sequel to Gracie's Playful Dusty Day, but it is another Gracie story, and it is called Gracie Finds Treasure. It is not as long as my first book. The layout is different. I've I think it's funnier than the first one. I'm just testing it on my family and some of my little beta readers, and I'm getting a lot of laughter out of this one. So I'm very excited about it. It should be out late fall this year.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we will definitely look forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. And yeah, we look forward to the second book.
Awesome.
All
Thank you so
right.
much for having me.